Ciao a tutti, today is April 14, 2019, and it's the Palm Sunday. And this is to just, of course, to reflect every Sunday. This is technically the 40th day for Lent, but actually the start also of the Holy Week. So today, a reason to thank the Lord today is being read or having the Gospel read today, which is very long, from Luke, from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 22 to 23, I think. Well, I've always so struck on that part where it is actually a long story, but it is one day that the Lord has suffered for us. So it's a one day. And the important aspect of it all is the end of the journey of that one short day. And the effect of that particular day. What I mean is, I was contemplating on that particular moment where everyone was already around the Lord. Most people, different people are around the Lord. And this is like the consummation of all the mysteries and the Word of God, because this is the time when God has finally sacrificed His Son, Jesus Christ. And that just suddenly opened a lot of things to mankind, to us men. So I was just struck in so many things. But actually it was just for one thing. It's a contradicting idea, but what I mean is, the way of Christ on that particular day, just one day of the Passion, which is the Passover, has many things. I mean, it is clouded by so many things. Many people, many stories, many relationship with God, with Jesus Himself, many contradictions, many stories that could be drawn from it, because the gospel is really, of course, full of life and stories. But the point that I have is that many things I've seen there, but there's only one thing also that I saw, which is the consummation of everything else. That is the particular hours where the Lord is already there at the cross, where everyone is watching Him, and God in His glory is bursting from humanity towards back to divinity. I guess it's the best way to put it. The mystery of the incarnate Son of God is finally breaking out of humanity, breaking the frailty of man through death unto the breathing of the last of the Lord. I mean, the last breath of the Lord, where divinity finally comes out of frailty again. And that means the Lord has laid out His life by Himself. And God glorifies His power over life by, in Jesus Christ, He has shown us that He has laid down His life by His own will, by breathing His last. And breaking, again, that's breaking humanity in so many ways. Like, for instance, upon the last breath of the Lord, the religion was broken. Jewish religion was broken because the temple was torn in two. People were beating their breast. Those possibly non-believers, or maybe those Jewish people who has been following Him, yet have not been believing Him, of a certain stage of beating their hearts in a certain sense of being open for something greater, you know. And there are there who were followers of Jesus Christ, who has been opened already beforehand before the Lord is offering himself to everyone, meaning the sacrifice is accepted. And so man could finally receive again and be open by the hearts. Open in their hearts to receive the eternal grace, which is the Holy Spirit, and a certain sense of being broken first to be filled by a certain divinity. And that is the certain stages. And this is one thing, that I saw, that where this silent moment which was so dark, covered by heavenly glory, I was thinking of one thing. How was it like during that particular moment? I guess that's how to put it in a question. How was it like on that particular moment, that very particular moment of consummation, where the Lord breathed his last? The world was dark. There is a clear effect on people. There is a clear effect on us even now. And there is an effect to those non-believers like Romans. Everyone else has a great effect. This is the Son of Man already being revealed as a divine God again, because something divine happened among the people at that time. And it's a start of being open to something greater. And that's, I guess, one thing that cancels out all the noise that surrounds the parade of the procession, cancels out even the carrying of the cross. It cancels out everything. It just becomes a background noise for what God is putting us into the end, which is the breaking of humanity by Jesus himself being broken down as man, so that divinity would finally burst forth like a fountain, but in a successive stage, not immediately. Starting by pouring forth the blood and water directly from the heart of Christ, pouring out to the centurion who received it, who's immediately got the faith, and many other changes. And that moment is what I was thinking as the only one thing that is becoming highlighted for me this particular morning, or this particular celebration. Because everyone is talking about, we could talk about the procession of the palms, the welcoming of Jesus Christ, but the gospel was very long. It was the story of how the Lord has sacrificed himself. And then I saw that how that important part of purpose of God, of fulfilling the mystery. For this week, it was about proving that Jesus is the truth, Jesus is the Son of God, Jesus is the relationship of the Son and the Father is what the Lord has been speaking this week. And then here we are in the Passion, reading the entire story very quickly. And it's just what God's purposed for sacrificing himself. And not the expiation of sins is the opening, but the bottom line is really to open us to the greater thing of heavenly things. And that could only be known to man by breaking his frailty from where we are being saved from. So it was understandable that the Lord said, what is that? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do, because that's our frailty that the Lord has broken. Our unmindfulness, our lack of understanding, our hardness of heart of seeing a person sacrificing himself, dying on the cross, and still overcome by fear, overcome by our frailty. This is the frailty that we are being saved from. That hearts are started to open to learn compassion again, to learn freely and openly compassion, because the heart is open through the help of Christ also, and to the help of God. So blessed truly are those who have come first, but this time generally God is opening to everyone. That sense, because Christ is the ultimate sacrifice that would break the heavens forth, break our humanity, and also open divinity for us, which is the love of God and the help of it all. The virtue and the understanding of being compassion in the light of God's compassion. These are the removal of our rawness as human human rationale, which is just the basic things, that we could comprehend. But this is something that we are invited also for, to the higher and greater divinity of God, which is the Godhead in the frailty of humanity, which the Lord has succeeded today. In memory, of course, but of course He has succeeded for a long time. And that is a reason to contemplate for where I am and how I see that moment where the Lord has give up His life, and the effect of it all in that moment is a good thing to contemplate for this week. More than the journey, because there was a great change for what was the fruit of the work of God is manifested immediately right after the sacrifice has been given. And that is what makes it holy. Even though the Lord might have not yet resurrected us of this moment, or at that moment, the manifestation of God is already very clear. And that is how the power of God has been shown to man again, that He has the authority above all creation, and it's just a check for everything about the truth of Jesus Christ. It's the fulfillment and the upholdment of our upholding of Christ's righteousness, as the Lord has spoken Himself, that all are true. And so it come late to others, it comes sooner to others, come later to others. But this is what we are expected to become. And this is a change that I see also in myself when the Lord break my frailty, even though I've already been baptized, but there is a certain sense of hardness that really could be broken by the grace of God, and that can only be broken by the grace of God. And that is exemplified by the Passion, of course, to the entire brokenness of mankind, opening of mankind, so that God could work again with us, with our partaking, of course, in cooperation. So that's it for today. Ciao. I'll sum it up later on.